In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the differences between passively and actively investing, specifically in multifamily real estate, but you can virtually invest into any type of real estate, whether it's active or passive, and I'm going to be showing you in this video. So with that being said, let's jump in. So a lot of people actually don't know that you truly can invest into a multifamily deal and be 100% completely passive. Now, a lot of people get this confused with like trying to go out and trade time for money, and then they're calling it passive, but it's really not. There is such a thing as writing a check, making an investment, and earning the cash flow, the tax benefits, the upside potential, and all of the benefits that investing in real estate generally gives you without having to do the work. So in the business of private equity real estate investing, which I'm going to show you a very simple overview of it, you're going to hear these two acronyms used over and over and over, which is LP and GP. All this means is if you're LP, it's an acronym that stands for limited partner, and this basically just means you are the passive investor. So all you do is write a check, and that is it. And you are partnering with the GP or the general partner, and this is the person that's going out, sourcing the deals, underwriting, and doing everything that it takes to run a deal. That person right there is called the general partner. And so how this partnership actually works is you have a guy right here, don't judge my stick figures, but this is the GP. This person is going to go out and they're going to find and identify an investment opportunity. Could be apartments, could be self-storage, could be retail, could be pretty much anything. You can raise money almost for anything. Instead of only looking at opportunities that we can afford as individuals, we pull together investors that want to be a passive investor and we bring the opportunity to them. So again, I'm the GP over here. We go out, we look for a deal, we find the deal, and then we present it to our investors, and these people right here is referred to as the LP or the limited partner. So they could be investing 50 grand, 100 grand, 200 grand, up to millions and millions and millions of dollars being invested solely as a limited partner. And so how the business actually works is, let's say you're a limited partner, you don't want anything to do with tenants, termites, or toilets, and you let somebody like me go and do the work for you. We take a profit split at the properties. So for instance, if we have a deal and there's $1 million profit whenever we sell the building, let's say it's a 70-30 profit split, 700 grand would go back to the limited partners or the investors who funded the deal. And then 300 grand would go to the general partner or for the person trading their time for money, going and putting the deal together, executing the business plan, and making the money on the sale. This is generally how it works with investing into syndications or other funds. There's generally a profit split between the limited partners that put up the majority of the capital and the general partner as well for finding it and running the whole project. And so the question is, where in the world do you fit into the mix? And I think a really good baseline of how you should choose whether or not you want to go down the active route and try to be a general partner and put these deals together, or if being a passive investor is a better spot for you to start. It really depends on what your job is or how you make your money and how much time and really passion you have about going into real estate to be active. So this is called the wealth formula. This is basically a discipline that if you follow the discipline, it will create wealth for you over a long period of time. I learned this when I worked at Grant Cardone's office on his real estate team, and we've personally used this for many, many, many years. I can tell you it works. It's broken down into 3 different steps. Number 1 is to produce active income. This is your job, your business, side hustles, whatever your means is of going out trading time for money. Could be a job, could be business, whatever it is. It is not passively earning you any income. Based on what your active income is, like for instance, if you're a doctor and you went to school for 12 years to get really good at being a doctor, it makes more sense for you to focus on the thing that you're good at that makes you the most money versus dropping the skill set to try to go out and learn a brand new skill set. If you don't have a job or you don't have a business that you're 100% bought into, or maybe you're looking to transition out of it into real estate, then that's when it's like, okay, let's consider the active route. So produce active income is number 1, you got to make money. Number 2 is to store it. So this is living below your means. Do not make 100 grand and then go buy a Ferrari. That is the stupidest thing in the entire world. What you should do with the money is you invest it. And I say into yourself, develop a skill set so you can make more money, so you can store it and invest more. And then once you've invested into yourself, invest into your business so you can grow it, so you can make more money. And then lastly, invest it into real estate. Real estate is one of the most proven vehicles that creates wealth. You don't need me to tell you it. You know plenty of old wealthy real estate people, or maybe you should, for it to become as big of a no-brainer as it is for most people around me. And so the idea of the wealth formula is you make all of your money up here. You're like, whatever it is, you're making 100, 200, 500, a million a year, where you can put money away and you can invest it into income producing real estate. And then over a long enough period of time, the cash flow from the real estate portfolio supersedes the income that you're going out and you're trading time for. That is the definition of financial freedom. It just takes a long period of time to do it. So hopefully this makes sense. It helps give you a perspective of where you really will be starting in the business. If you have no time and you have liquidity to invest into a deal, you're probably going to fall under the limited partner passive route. It doesn't make sense for you to go out and spend a ton of time trying to learn something that you can just make money in. This limited partner, this is hands off, good at something else, doesn't have a ton of time, generally a high income earner or investor, doesn't want to be involved in the tenants, the termites, and the toilets, because who honestly wants to do that? But you know that you don't want to be in the stock market, you have no idea, maybe crypto, but you're like looking for an asset that has stability, produces fixed income every single month, offers tax advantages, and the upside from appreciation. This is generally where you're going to fall in line. Now, for the general partner, it's the exact opposite. Maybe you're doing single family home flips, maybe you're a wholesaler, maybe you're trying to transition from whatever industry you're in now into real estate, and you're considering doing multifamily full time, and you want to be paid a profit split for putting all the deals together. Maybe you're curious about buying an asset without using any of your own money, and you get paid to do that. That's completely okay. It happens all the freaking time. You wouldn't believe it, but it does come at a cost. And that cost is trading your time, energy, effort, and money sometimes to actually do these deals. So again, you're managing operations, you're managing going out and trying to create relationships with the brokers, you're sourcing deals on a weekly, on a monthly basis, you're trying to do whatever it takes to get a deal done. The general partnership, this is your active income, and the passive side of it is more of an investment vehicle for you. So hopefully all that makes sense for you. Now, the best way that I've learned in the past is just show me a real life example so I can actually see what it looks like to be both a general partner with a great deal and a limited partner investing into the deal. So I'm going to be breaking down a real life example right now. We're about to go under contract on this deal right this second. I am the general partner on it, and we found it, and we're doing all of it. We're raising the money and putting it all together. So we're going to get paid for being the active general partner, and then we're raising almost $4.5 million from outside investors. And so I'll show you how does it actually work. Now, just so you can see, I can't disclose the name or the location yet, but it is a 68 unit building. We're purchasing it for $9.9 million, almost a $10 million deal. This is an instance that I do not want to round up. We're paying 9.9, hopefully less by the time we close. We're going to get a $7 million loan on it, and we're going to raise $4 million of equity for it. 3 of that is to close, and $1 million of it is to do the actual project at it, improve it, renovate it, and make it worth more. So all the numbers that I'm about to show you are based on this one singular deal that we're about to do. So for the passive side, this is the same regardless of what amount you invest, because I'm going to go through the returns and like the advantages. So people can invest 50 grand, 100, 250, 500, $1 million, and the percent of the return stays the same. The actual dollar amount is what changes depending on how much you invest. So for all the people that are investing passively into our deal, our target is to send you an annualized cash flow return of 6% a year. So if you invested $100,000, this would be roughly $6,000 a year in cash flow, or $500 every single month. You'd also get a K1 from us, and because we're a partner in the deal, we take what's called bonus depreciation and we send it down to the investors. All this means is you're going to get a K1 tax form. It will have a loss on the tax form, and you might be able to use it to help offset some of the gains that you have. In disclosure, consult with your CPA and attorney on how you can use it, but because you're a true partner in the real estate deal, without having to do any of the work, you do get your fair share of the tax advantages for the depreciation. So we'll send you 6% a year in cash flow. We'll send you a K1 with a loss on it. The appreciation is where almost all the money's at in these deals. And for instance, on this one, we are doing a cash out refi. So we'll buy the building, it will pay a 6% return as we're doing the work to the property. And between years 2, 3, and 4, we're gonna purposely go to a bank and put a new loan on it and refinance the property. And our goal is to send back 70 to 100% of the capital that you initially invested. And the best part is that is tax free until we sell the property. So imagine you put 100 grand in, completely passive, you're not answering any phone, you're not doing anything. I send you 500 bucks every single month, and then in year 3, I call you and I say, hey, I'm sending you back $75,000 to $100,000, but it's tax-free because it's a refi, so that you can take it, we can redeploy it into another deal so it starts earning some interest for you, and then the income from the property continues to come in. You get almost all of your money back, tax-free, but the income or the cash flow continues to stay going because we still own the asset. And then when we sell, we'll do a whole profit split and you'll get even more money. So all in all, for every 100 grand you put in, our target is to send you back 200 between the cash flows, a refi, and a sale at the end of the term. So that's what it looks like to be passive. And you can see as a passive investor where you do nothing to earn 15 to 20% annualized every single year that you're in the deal between the cash flow and the upside on a sale. It's a really attractive investment for passive investors. And then for the active side, just so you can see it, this is why people in the business put so much time, energy, and effort into becoming really good so you can do deals. This one took us over 9 months to source, hanging around the rim, constantly following up with the brokers, seeing if there could be a deal made. It took over 9 months to try to get this deal under contract. We are in charge of the operations, and we are in charge of answering tenants, termites, and toilets and dealing with all that BS. We have to go through and execute due diligence and make sure the property is exactly what it is we think we're buying. And then for doing all of this, we get a $150,000 acquisition fee, or 1.5% of the purchase price. And this is going to be split amongst a couple of different partners in the GP side. There's a $60,000 per year asset management fee for managing the asset and the investors and making sure everything actually goes to plan. So this is almost $5,000 a month. And then on the back end of it, in years 5, 6, or 7, whenever we actually sell it, there could be over $1 million potential profit for the general partners to make. But keep in mind, this is not passive. Like, this being a general partner is not passive by any means. We have to work extremely hard to get these deals done. And for doing deals, you make money. So it works for everybody on the active side because this is our active main business. And then for the people that just want to be a passive investor, they don't want to have to go through all the headaches and pain of trying to do a deal. They invest passively with the active general partners. So hopefully you found a ton of value throughout today's video. As always, if you did, make sure you drop a like, comment, and most importantly, make sure you help us out by subscribing. And I can't wait to see you in the next one.